Hero in D.C., Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Joan Ruth Bader was born on March 15, 1933, in Brooklyn, New York. The second daughter of Nathan and Celia Bader, she grew up in a humble-income, working-class neighborhood. Ruth's mother was a major influence in her life, teaching her the values of independence and a good education. Her mother, Celia herself, did not attend college, but instead worked in a garment factory to pay for her brother's college education, an act of selflessness that forever impressed Ginsburg. At James Madison High School in Brooklyn, Ginsburg worked diligently and excelled in her studies, destined for excellence and born to make history.
I loved to do the things that boys did when I was growing up. One of our favorite things was climbing garage roofs from one roof to another, leaping over.
Justice Ginsburg, we cannot call Ruth.
Right.
We call her Kiki.
She was beautiful. Big, beautiful blue eyes, which you really can't see very well behind her glasses. Very soft brown hair. She had this kind of quiet magnetism, even though she was not effusive.
You always thought that she wasn't listening and she didn't know what was going on, but she knew what was going on.
And
Right,
she didn't do small talk.
No small
And she didn't do girl chat. And she didn't get on the phone and talk with us about what happened on the weekend.
She's a deep thinker. She and her mom were very close. Very, very close.
My mother died when I was 17. I wish I could have had her longer.
Well, her mother must have been a very steely person because she had cancer a long time and lived trying to get her child through high school.
She had two lessons that she repeated over and over. Be a lady and be independent. Be a lady meant don't allow yourself to be overcome by useless emotions like anger. And by independent, she meant it would be fine if you met Prince Charming and lived happily ever after, but be able to fend for yourself.
Education for women has been revolutionized since the era when RBG's mother, Celia, was in school. Though Celia was an excellent student, her family only sent her brother to college. Home ec class was there for girls when RBG was growing up. When women did attend college, the common expectation was that they'd meet their husbands there, where RBG did meet Marty Ginsburg, but she also graduated with honors. Many elite colleges didn't even accept women until after the 1960s. Title IX changed everything. The act prohibited gender discrimination and federally supported education. The challenge has been to fulfill the laws promised.
To my mother, Celia Amster Bader, I pray that I may be all that she would have been had she lived in an age when women could aspire and achieve, and daughters are cherished as much as sons.
Work has changed dramatically for women since 1933, when RBG was born. Back then, pursuing ambition was for men, unless you were Frances Perkins, the first woman appointed to a cabinet position. As a child, RBG watched as millions of women entered the workforce during World War II, only to see them pushed back out when men returned home.
Victory and the return of happier days.
When she graduated at the top of her law school class, she found no law firms willing to hire her. Later, she then began teaching at Rutgers, and she earned less than her male colleagues. She was told this was because she had a husband to foot the bills. Motivated by the history of workplace bias, she used her legal talents to build the foundation of case law in support of women's rights as workers.
Society would benefit enormously if women were regarded as people equal in stature to men.
I ask no favor for my sex. All I ask of our brethren is that they take their feet off our necks.
We welcome today Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
She's become such an icon.
Do you mind signing this copy?
I am 84 years old and everyone wants to take a picture with me.
Notorious.
RBG.
Yeah.
When you come right down to it, the closest thing to a superhero I know.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg changed the way the world is for American women.
I became a lawyer when women were not wanted by the legal profession.
Thousands of state and federal laws discriminated on the basis of gender. She was following in the footsteps of the battle for racial equality. She wanted equal protection for women.
Men and women are persons of equal dignity, and they should count equally before the law.
She captured for the male members of the court what it was like to be a second-class citizen.
The point is that the discriminatory line almost inevitably hurts women.
I did see myself as kind of a kindergarten teacher in those days because the judges didn't think sex discrimination existed.
I have had the great good fortune to share life with a partner truly extraordinary for his generation.
He was the first boy I ever knew who cared that I had a brain.
She is a center of power on and off the court.
Every time Justice Ginsburg wrote a dissent, the internet would explode.
I came up with a couple slogans. You can't spell truth without Ruth.
I surely would not be in this room today without the determined efforts of men and women who kept dreams alive. Men and women are persons of equal dignity, and they should count equally before the law.
You won't settle for putting Susan B. Anthony on the new dollar.
When they would say things like this, how did you respond?
Well, never in anger, as my mother told me. That would have been self-defeating. Always as an opportunity to teach. I did see myself as kind of a kindergarten teacher in those days because the judges didn't think sex discrimination existed. Well, one of the things I tried to plant in their minds was think about how you would like the world to be for your daughters and granddaughters.
The gender line helps to keep women not on a pedestal, but in a cage.
One of the things that I'm struck by as I look back on it is how unprepared the defendants were to fight back. We won because the strategy was brilliant. We won because we were smart and prepared, and we fought hard.
You couldn't miss what Ruth was doing during the 70s. She was creating a legal landscape.
I am, as you know, a Brooklynite, born and bred, a first-generation American on my father's side, barely second generation on my mother's. Neither of my parents had the means to attend college. What has become of me could happen only in America, like so many others. I owe so much to the entry this nation afforded to people yearning to breathe free. My law school class in the late 1950s numbered over 500. That class included less than 10 women.
I thought it could be a way to make a living, plus to do something that would make conditions in your society a little better.
There was another student at Cornell.
Yes.
Who decided to become a lawyer too.
Yeah, my dear husband.
Your dear husband.
Yeah, in fact, we had decided that whatever we do it together.
Not a law firm in the entire city of New York bid for my employment as a lawyer when I earned my degree.
There were many well-known firms in New York that were not yet up to welcoming Jews. The next, I was a woman. That was a higher barrier. But the absolute killer was I had a 4-year-old daughter. So when I graduated from law school, there was not a single woman on any federal bench. It would not be a realistic ambition for a woman to want to become a federal judge. Jimmy Carter became our president. He looked around at the federal judiciary and said, I am determined to appoint members of minority groups and women to the federal bench. One of my law clerks at the Court of Appeals said at the time that Clinton was considering who would be his first nominee to the court, he said, you will be on the list, but you'll probably be around number 1925.
I surely would not be in this room today without the determined efforts of men and women who kept dreams alive. People like Susan B. Anthony, Elizabeth Cady Stanton, and Harriet Tubman. I stand on the shoulders of those brave people.
The court wasn't an unknown territory to me. I mean, I worked at the Court of Appeals. I knew Justice Scalia from our Court of Appeals days together. I knew Justice Clarence Thomas, who was also on the D.C. circuit. But Sandra was as close as I came to having a big sister. You know, the standard robe is made for a man because it has a place for the shirt to show and the tie. So Sandra Day O'Connor and I thought it would be appropriate if we included it as part of our robe, something typical of a woman. When Sandra left, it was a very lonely place for me to be. That is 8 rather well-fed men up there. And then there was a small little woman. It was the wrong perception.
Yeah. In my lifetime, I expect to see 3, 4, perhaps even more women on the High Court bench, women not shaped from the same mold, but of different complexions.
People ask me sometimes, when will there be enough women on the court? And my answer is, when there are 9. Because I've been there so long, I sit next to the chief, and to the left, some seats down, is Justice Sotomayor, and to the right, Justice Kagan. We're all over the bench. We're 1/3 of the bench. But there has been a tradition in the United States of dissents becoming the law of the land. You're writing for a future age, and your hope is that with time, the court will see it the way you do. The notorious RBG was started by a second-year student at New York University Law School. She was dismayed about the decision the court had recently rendered, where she put on the internet the announcement I made from the bench of my dissenting opinion in the Shelby County case. And she called it the notorious RBG because she had in mind a well-known rapper, the notorious B.I.G. I love my job. It's the best and the hardest job that I have ever had. And it has kept me going through 4 cancer bouts. Instead of concentrating on my aches and pains, I just know that I have to read this set of briefs and concentrate on the court's work.
Amicus views this case as kin to read, be read, borrow, for the sex criterion stigmatizes when it is used to limit hours of work for women only. It assumes that all women are preoccupied with home and children. These distinctions have a common effect. They help keep woman in her place, a place inferior to that occupied by men. The law must stop using sex as a shorthand for functional. The judgment enjoins enforcement of the statute insofar as it discriminates on the basis of sex. In effect, laws of this quality help to keep women not on a pedestal, but in a cage. Sarah Grimke said, "I ask no favor for my sex. All I ask of our brethren is that they take their feet off our necks."
You keep saying you got something for me, something you call love, but confess you've been a messin' where you shouldn't have been a messin'.
It's a long walk to D.C., but I got my walking shoes on the way to Washington. I can't take a plane, bus or train, 'cause my money ain't that long. America, we believe, oh, that you love us still. So people, I'm gonna be under, to wipe away my tears. I tell you, it's a long walk to D.C., but I'm gonna
Mama, let me be. Don't come hanging round my door. I don't wanna see your face no more. I got more important things to do than spend my time growing on with you. Now, woman, stay away. American woman, listen what I say.
Ladies all across the world, listen up, we're looking for recruits. If you're with me, let me see your hands, stand up and salute. Get your killer heels, sneakers, pumps, or lace up your boots. Representing all the women, salute. So ladies all across the world, listen up, we're looking for recruits. If you're with me, let me see your hands, stand up and salute. Get your killer heels, sneakers, pumps, or lace up your boots. Representing all the women. This girl is on fire. But she's a flame, so bright she can burn your eyes. Better look the other way. You can try, but you'll never forget her name. She's on top of the world, hottest of the hottest girls. Say, oh, we got our feet on the ground and we're burning it down.
A Supreme Court ruling announced minutes ago extends same-sex marriage in America. The justices ruled 5-4 that states do not have the right to outlaw same-sex unions. The High Court also ruled that all 50 states must recognize same-sex marriages performed in other states.
Whatever God you believe in, we come from the same one. Strip away the fear, underneath it's all the same love. About time that we raised up.
Even if I tried, even if I wanted to, and I can't change. Even if I tried, even if I wanted to.
We've been together for 26 years and got married in New York last year, but it wasn't recognized in our home state of Ohio. We flew here to D.C. where we're married, and now we get to fly home to Ohio where we're married.
I can have a ceremony at home. I can't wait to call my mom.
All of the incentives, all of the benefits that marriage affords would still be available. So you're not taking away anything from heterosexual couples. They would have the very same incentive to marry, all the benefits that come with marriage, that they do now.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg has worn many hats, but she hasn't worn anything like the big feathery one she's getting ready to wear next month. It's no secret Justice Ginsburg loves the opera, and now she's making her official opera debut. She'll be playing the Duchess of Krakenthorpe on opening night of the Washington National Opera's The Daughter of the Regiment. It's not a singing role, but it does have speaking lines, and Ginsburg will get to wear a costume created especially for her, big feathery hat and all.
Pardon, elle a tant à cœur de plaire à Madame la Duchesse.
The best of the house of Krakentorp have open but not empty minds. The best are willing to listen and learn. No surprise then that the most valorous Krakentorpians have been women.
In the past, society's conception of what a woman could and couldn't do revolved around traditional ideas of homemaking. In 1965, Ruth Bader Ginsburg was working for the Social Security Administration. When she discovered she was pregnant, she got demoted. She was lucky she didn't get fired. In 1973, Roe v. Wade was decided. Banks could still decline a woman's application for credit unless a man, preferably her husband, co-signed. RBG led efforts to give women power over their bodies and their income. Her work towards 1978's Pregnancy Discrimination Act secured women's ability to work and receive benefits through pregnancy and childbirth. RBG has used her time in the Supreme Court to continue protecting equal rights for all genders. In her own home, she proved that equality contributes to a successful partnership.
When there is a sharing of responsibility, that's the day that women will be truly liberated.
verse 5.
Min hametsar karatia.
Take
my mind and take my pain.
Justice did not arrive like a lightning bolt, but rather through dogged persistence. All the days of her life, real change, she said, enduring change, happens one step at a time.
And take my past and take my sins, like an empty sail takes the wind. And here, and tell me something's last, and tell me something's last.
It is with profound sorrow and deep sympathy to the Ginsburg family that I have the high honor to welcome Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg to lie in state in the capital of the United States. She does so on a catafalque built for Abraham Lincoln. May she rest in peace.
An ocean takes the dirty sand, and here, and take my mind and take my.
You're broken down and tired of living life on the merry-go-round, and you can't find a fighter, but I see it in you, so we gon' walk it out. Move mountains, we gon' walk it out and move mountains. And I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I do it 1,000 times again. And I'll rise up, I like the waves. I'll rise up, in spite of the ache. I'll rise up, and I do it 1,000 times again. The silence isn't quiet, and it feels like it's getting hard to breathe. And I know you feel like dying, but I promise we'll take the world to its feet. Move mountains, bring it to its feet. Move mountains. And I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I do it 1,000 times again. And for that we have each other. And we will rise, we will rise, we will rise. Oh, we'll rise. I'll rise up, rise like the day. I'll rise up in spite of the I will rise 1,000 times again, and we'll rise up. I like the waves. We'll rise up in spite of the ache. We'll rise up, and we'll do it 1,000 times again. Nothing seems complete. I stand up and I'm searching for the better part of me. I hang my head from sorrow so much. State of humanity. So wearing on my shoulders, gotta find strength in me. Why's that? 'Cause I am a superwoman. Yes, I am. Yes, she is. Still when I'm a mess, I still put on a vest, feeling it so much as, oh yes, I'm a superwoman. That's right. This is for all the mothers fighting, for better days to come. They coming. And all my women sitting here trying to come home before the sun. And all my sisters coming together, say yes I will, yes I can. Why's that? 'Cause I am a superwoman. Yes I am.
Boys have had Superman and Batman as their heroes, but we had Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Our hero didn't wear a cape to fly. Ours wore the robe of a Supreme Court justice to give us freedom. Our hero wasn't a fictional character. She was an icon who paved the way for us, and now it's our turn to finish her work. We are ruthless now, and we will act accordingly. The fight our grandmothers fought for have continued into our generation. Now it's time we get justice once and for all, so our granddaughters don't have to continue this fight for us in the future. In this fight, we'll be using indestructible ammunition. We'll be using our degrees, positions, our voices, the strength in our hearts, the wisdom we carry, our natural networking skills and ability to multitask, a skill most men don't inherit. We will stand tall, hand in hand, as we work in the union together as a team. In this, we are all one, not divided by race, religion, class, or creed. We will stand united as sisters in this to the end, completing the work of our hero, Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Hold on to me, don't let me go. Who cares what they see? Who cares what they know? Your first name is free, last name is dumb, but you still believe in where we're from. Man's right flower, it's in every living thing. Mind, use your power, spirit, use your wings.
Yeah, this album is dedicated to all the teachers that told me I never amount to nothing. To all the people that lived above the buildings that I was hustling from that called the police on me when I was just trying to make some money to feed my daughter. And all the niggas in the struggle, you know what I'm saying? It's all good, baby. It was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine, Salt and Pepper and Heavy D up in the limousine, hanging pictures on my wall. Every Saturday, rap attack Mr. Magic Marley Marl. I let my tape rock till my tape pop, smoking weed and bamboo, sipping on private stock. Way back when I had the red and black lumberjack.